All right, everyone, we are going to go ahead and get started. My name is Courtney Allen. I am president of our Alumnae Association, and I want to welcome you, those virtually and those in person, for joining us today for our Black History Month event, where we are going to celebrate entrepreneurship. So I have two very amazing women with me today. We have Miss Mary Hinton, owner of Sweetheart Treats, and then we also have Central Class of '01 also. Give that shout out. Right. And then we have Miss Ebony Haywood, who is a Meredith grad, class of '06, and owner of the Affirmed Child. Right?
Affirmed Kid.
The Affirmed Kid. I'm sorry, the Affirmed Kid.
Children, kids.
But I want to thank you both for being here today. So let's start with each of you just telling us a little bit about yourselves. Who wants to go first?
Oh, okay. Older girl gets to go first. So my name is Mary Hinton. I'm originally from Raleigh. Went to all of my schooling here, graduated from Central in 2001, got a degree in accounting, was an accountant for about 17 years before I started Sweetheart Treats in 2015. And in April of this year, we'll be celebrating 5 years of our brick and mortar. So pretty excited about that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, so I'm Ebony Haywood, and I'm actually also from Raleigh, born and raised. So I haven't left and went to Meredith, and so I've kind of been a true Raleighite. And I graduated from Meredith in 2006, obviously, and gotta love those evens.
Yes, so even.
And I taught for a little while, and right now I actually am a VP of People and Culture for an ed tech company. And we actually are right downtown Glenwood South. If anybody ever wants to meet me for lunch, come on and hang out with me for lunch. But I also have the Affirmed Kid. So I am, a working mama by day and a business lady by night and weekend. So
how are you balancing all of that?
I have figured it out, kind of, somewhat.
Right.
So yeah, I have a 4-year-old, and so balancing that and work. I mean, definitely my job is very intense and requires a lot of me. But I've just tried to make sure that I get decent sleep,
right,
and try to plan my days. But also I've been really diligent about planning self-care.
Mm-hmm.
So like time with friends and time to do stuff, because that has really, really helped me be able to balance. And
right,
just sometimes just like if there's a day where I just don't want to do something,
mm-hmm,
especially as it relates to like the business, I just don't do it and get some sleep.
There you go.
That's kind of the balance of that. And I'm learning to say no, but I still do struggle with
it's
no.
hard. It's hard.
So
were you a people pleaser? I'm a people pleaser. So that's something I struggle with.
I am a people pleaser.
Okay. Yeah, I feel you. I'm an
Enneagram 3 as well. Those Enneagrams. So, yeah.
Nice. So we want to hear all about your business. So I would like for each of you to just tell us how you got started. Anything that happened that was a milestone for you along the way that you want to share. But just tell us a little bit about your businesses, your niche, anything that you want to share.
Thanks, Ebony. You're so gracious.
I am. Because I can see rambling.
Yeah. So for me, I started, like I said, I was in accounting for 17 years, got fired. I was 35. And at that time, I think I realized I had a niece who was like 2, and I never saw her because I worked a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like work was it. So at that time, I think my mom, we were just trying to figure out, like, do I go to another accounting job? What do I do? And my mom just kind of was like, we're gonna make cupcakes. And I was like, who's gonna buy them? Like literally, who's gonna buy them? So she wanted to do a food truck, which again, it was like, how are we gonna just jump out and have a food truck somewhere? So I called them all, Triangle Town Center, and I just, literally was like trying to get up, how much does it cost to have a kiosk? We're going to sell cupcakes at a kiosk. They wouldn't give me any information on the phone. I had to go in for a meeting, set the meeting, go in there, and I'm talking to the lady, and she says, I really like you. Can you be open, and be ready in 2 weeks, January the 3rd, 2015, where you're going to open? And I was like, yeah. She was like, what's your business name? And I was like, Sweetheart Treats. Like literally on the fly, had no clue, just like literally threw that name out because it was kind of pondering on a couple of other names. And so I walked out of there and I called my mom and I said, Mom, we gotta be open in 2 weeks. Luckily, I have a great friend who's into marketing. And that night it was like, okay, we got to come up with a color scheme, a logo, boxes. And then I had my cousin who's actually here today, Olivia, her, my grandmother, and one of my aunts came to my house, and my grandma started teaching me how to make icing from scratch, a couple of recipes from scratch. They did a lot of taste testing. My family is very brutal. So it was just like, no, this is not going to work. This will work. And we started in the mall, and we did the mall for about 6 months to kind of get a feel for it. And I was like, man, I can work 3 days and make this much money. I'm not going back to full time. But, holiday season in the mall really kind of showed us, it was like, I don't shop in the mall. So the rent went up like triple. In the holiday season, we made no money. And it was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna bake out of my house. So baked out of my house, we started doing like fairs, Southern Women's Show, different stuff like that. And just by chance, somebody came to the Southern Women's Show and asked me, could I do a vegan cupcake? Really didn't know what that was. I started making them, was making them out of the house, got an offer to kind of do some for a grocery store, but they said you have to have a storefront. So started looking for a storefront. One in 2016, 2017, we opened, and we all of our whole bakery is gluten-free. So nobody in my family has allergies, but it was like, as we started trying to make the decision of doing regular and gluten-free, we'd rather not get people sick. So we just went all gluten-free, and everything used to taste like muffins, and now everything tastes like regular products. So we kind of perfected that. And I mean, we've been rocking and rolling. No business plan, just, the love and the dedication. Like, it was just a lot of hard work, a lot of stumbling blocks, a lot of things I didn't know, couldn't imagine would even come up. And we've been kicking butt. So pretty proud of it.
That's amazing.
I think my favorite product would be, I know Taylor likes, I love the cake sickles. Like, that's just something so fun. You can decorate them nicely. But it's, every year is something new.
Right.
So I think it's very hard when you are in the baking field to not want to jump on everything, because everything is not your market. And I think my market is, for me, it's like when we first started, I didn't know how to decorate cakes. I didn't know how to use fondant. And gradually I've gotten better and better, and self-taught, and, I size it up and all that stuff. So, I mean, I think, doing different stuff, like I like doing some chocolate works, but cupcakes is always going to be my heart. Like, we do 230 different flavors.
Wow.
But cupcakes is where it is, because I love giving you a good cake. So that's where
Can't beat a good cake.
No.
Cannot beat a good cake. That is true.
Yeah.
Thank you. What about you, Ms. Ebony?
Yeah, so really the Affirmed kid was birthed during the pandemic. And it really came out of as simple as I tell people, it's really as simple as a spiritual thing that I was really given a vision from God. And then I just started moving, and everything has fallen into place over the, last year. And so I had a vision. I told a couple of friends, like, I'm supposed to do this thing, and I'm gonna, affirm children. And it kind of came around Valentine's Day, because I wanted to make something for Emmy. And I was gonna put hearts on her door that were like affirmations, and I just didn't do it because I was busy. And so then I was like, well, a couple of my friends were talking about stuff that they make for their kids. And I'm like, well, maybe I'll just make some flashcards, and I can go over those with her, because we already do that since she was a baby. We've been doing that. And then it just turned into a thing where, like, I just had this vision where I just saw myself speaking to people and traveling and sharing. And I spent like the month or two after that just designing, thinking of ideas, coming up with names, figuring out what to do. Like I said, I didn't have like a formalized business plan before acting. It was just, I felt in my spirit, like, just to act and move, and just the things will come. And they did. It was everything from, like, I figured out how to, what to do with sales and how to do that, and managing things, and partnered with someone that does marketing to help me build the website and what that looks like. But as far as the setting it up and all that, I've kind of learned it. Me and Google and a couple of friends have figured it out. And Mary and I are actually friends. And so I have asked her plenty of questions of, like, how do I do this? Or what do you think about that? And so I think it's just become like a friend family thing where I've, used my resources and tools. And we're in a store in Crabtree, the Lounge, which is right beside Sephora. So if you go to Sephora and go down a few doors, our stuff's in there. So we've been able to be in the mall and some other stores and doing wholesale. So I've learned this whole market, but the cool thing is that along the way, it's like everything has happened so strategically that like I met someone who does wholesale along the path, and she gave me a lot of support and has a store downtown Raleigh, Flourish Market, if you've ever gone there, and partner with her. And she was really supportive. And then, you know, I was telling somebody earlier, and recently a principal reached out and was like, hey, I love what you're doing. I want a set of these cards for my whole school. So it's like along the path, I've connected with the right people at the right time, which confirms that when it was time to move, I had to move there. And so my goal is to be able to affirm every family and every home. And so, you know, I'm working towards that. So we still have a lot of homes to go, but even in the first, 6 months, I was kind of like, well, nobody's going to pay this for some flashcards, in my head. But once it happened, I mean, my pre-orders, I did like a pre-order and launch. And, within a week or so, I had over 100 orders of people just wanting cards. So again, it's a story of just act and move. I think both of us have shown you that you don't have to have all this together. Now I do, because of some other things that I want to do and some other partnerships, which have been really amazing things that I'm working on behind the scenes that do require a little bit more of a strategic plan when people are interested in you. So now I'm doing that. But, if you have it in your heart and you're dreaming it and thinking of it, like literally just act. I mean, I got on my laptop and would just sit at night, put my child to bed and start making drawings of cards and what they need to be, and, and just kind of rocking and rolling with it. So the same thing.
Yeah, there's a trend with both of you. And I think this is true to entrepreneurship as a whole, right? When you, first of all, our dreams that we have, they're not by accident, right? If there's something that you're passionate about that you can't shake, it means you're meant to be pursuing that, right? And the fact that both of you are doing something that you are truly passionate about, right? That explains how everything is falling into place as it should, because you're where you're meant to be, right?
Yeah.
So that's amazing.
And that's what I call it. It's my passion work.
Yeah.
Like it really is, like I call it a ministry. Like for me, the Affirm, like affirming kids, and I make videos with my daughter Emory. So and she loves. I think she loves, maybe she doesn't. But she acts like she loves it.
Depends on the day. Are we done?
Yeah, she will wrap me up really quick, like, are we done here? But it's been a joy to do that with her, because for me as mom, I've been able to see it impact her. She's very confident in who she is as a 4-year-old. She's very intelligent and smart and has amazing ideas. And so I continue to remind her of that and get her to say that. And even sometimes she affirms me, as her mommy. And so it's cool to just see it working in both ways. So, my thing is just to continue to affirm her and make sure that, she sees all of those things. Because for me, it was, and this, for some of us in here, like for me, and when I was younger, I didn't feel like I was affirmed. And so, if I can help families kind of combat that while they're young, so that we don't have to maybe spend as much money in mental health and challenges and other things, then that's going to change a child's life. And so, that's one of my things, is just discovering my own story of, there were areas that I wasn't affirmed in that I can make sure to fill that gap for other families.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I want to talk about both of your creative processes, right? So whenever you are creating a new product, what does that process look like for you?
I wing it.
Okay.
To me, I think before getting into having a baker, I was always creative. Like I love doing crafts with my mom and my grandma. Like I was always crafty. I can't draw, but I love creative stuff. And so for me, with cakes and decorating and all that stuff, is like I can see it. Like I literally can see it, or it'll come to me like, oh yes, I know exactly how to make that look like a cup or whatever. So a lot of times it's just like kind of looking at it. And I am a very realistic baker. If you give me something, I'm like, I can't do that, but I can do this, because that's the biggest thing. You never want somebody to have an expectation and then you give them something else and they're looking at you like, no, this is not what I asked for. You want to. So for me, it's always just kind of being realistic. And then sometimes what people are asking you for is unrealistic. I mean, it's very surprising. I have people ask all the time, it's like, how do you bake full time? And I'm like, it's a lot of money in it. Like it really is. But for me, I kind of look at it and go about it that way. What's the easiest way to kind of get there? And then I go on a wing and a prayer every time. Every time. Just hope it all comes together.
Right. And if it doesn't, you learn from it, you
Yeah.
adjust and you move forward.
And then even there, it's like a lot of times, even if I'm decorating a cake, sometimes I think I have an idea of where it's going to go. And I start going and I'm like, no, that doesn't look there. Or as you're putting the pieces
Right.
together, it's like, no, that doesn't look like a barbell. And then it's like, it's all done. And you're like, man, this looks good. So sometimes I shock myself.
I love it. What
Yeah,
about you?
I would say a lot of mine is more of thinking about like, what would be cool to have, like what would be a cool way to teach other people. And I think like the flashcards was the first thing. And then it was like, I had somebody say, hey, can you put this like on a poster? I want to take this card and put it on wall art. Well, then created wall art. So now I have like canvases and framed art. And then like sometimes I just sit and make a list of ideas and then just decide like, I'm going to do it. And so, or I'll do the research on it. Because a couple of things, it's like, I need manufacturers or, partners or whatever to do it. So it's like, what's the cost of that going to look like? And, what does designing that look like? I mean, I think with the cards and the box and even now, like my focus now is really getting the boxes to where I really want them. So I've done had a couple of meetings recently and just really defining that and refining it to where it's like, this is it, like
Right.
for the stores. Cause my vision is, so this is what it's going to look like on a Target shelf, right? So that's what I'm going for. What do I need to do to get it there? And so I can get very distracted in creation and it started a bunch of different paths with things. And so I had to kind of pull back, like, this is my thing. And I want to make sure to focus on digging in to make this the best thing, for my customers. Right. And then the other things will come. And there's just a couple of, like I said, different ideas and things that people have asked for. Like right now, everybody's asking, can you make these for like the middle school age? Because that's the kind of forgotten age too. Everybody does stuff for little kids, there's stuff for high school. Everybody's looking for stuff for middle school. I've had multiple people reach out. So it's like, okay, let me get this right. And then it's kind of like, the Cards Against Humanity, like they perfected the thing and then they added, the different additions and whatnot. And so that's my focus. But if there are other products or support or things I can do, for example, I started doing worksheets. So I have free worksheets on my website, which that helps because I send teachers there and they can go print those off and do those as well, because I want it to be something that everybody has access to no matter what. And so a part of that is just like, what are the things, just thinking of the things and what's going to be a low lift on me as well to do. But, I have a creative juice of like doing event planning and all that stuff in the past. And so I've kind of tried to pull all those skills together and get the creative juices moving.
So do what you gotta do. Do what you gotta do. So I'm sure those on the call and those in person, maybe at some point in time, it's crossed your mind to pursue your passion, right? Become an entrepreneur, but you may have just been concerned or scared, right? I'll admit it. I've got passions that I want to pursue, but I'm just scared. What would you tell those people? Like how did you start? How do you, for someone who is skeptical or nervous, what would you advise them to do?
Yeah, I think, for me, a lot of people think, again, perfect example is Mary, she's doing this full time. I do this on the side. And I think it's a perfect example, like you can do it. You don't have to turn everything over and just say, I'm going to quit my job today, which I would not recommend doing. And stop. Depends on the situation. Like that, if you're going to quit your job.
When I was working.
Right. But in that situation, like you didn't have a choice and had to like really pivot and look what you've done. And like, for me, it's like, I'm doing it on the side, but at some point I may have to make a choice, right? To actually had somebody say that to me recently, where you're going to have to decide, like, is this a passion project or is this your thing? And so for me, that's like, oh, wow, at some point I may have to do something different or leave my job. But right now I'm able to balance it. And I would just encourage people to just move and act. I mean, I think the same thing, like I'm saying, just move and act. You have a meeting with your family, move and act. Have a meeting with yourself, move and act. And I think just that you can do it, right? It's just what do you want to do? How bad do you want to do it? And thinking through what it's going to take for you to make it happen. So
I hope y'all are taking notes.
I mean, I think I would say the same thing. I mean, we started Sweetheart Treats. We developed everything in 2 weeks, literally 2 weeks. Phone number, tagline, t-shirts, product, labels, logo, literally in 2 weeks. Winged it, no business plan, no funding, And we just did it. Like, I do think, because I have other friends who have started businesses and they do all the work and they're like, Mary, did you do it? And it's like, no, I ain't never seen that before. It's like, well, what about this? Did you? No. I just went. Like, I literally just went and I had no clue. So it is for me, like, recently I kind of looked back at like some of the pictures of when I first started and I was like, man, I don't know how those people was buying that stuff. I was like, man, they must have felt bad for me. I don't know what it was, because when I look at it, like, I would have been upset had some of this stuff showed up to some of the places so looking back and just seeing the growth is, but I think what I have learned is people love my personality. So a lot of them want to come and support. A lot of them really want to see me do well. So I'm grateful for it, because in the beginning, we would have been here.
Yeah, and it's funny. I mean, I think it's the dreaming big, right?
Yeah.
And even today, I read a children's book to a virtual class about dreaming big, and in the story, it was like that, a little girl who literally just thought of like, I want to help keep the streets clean, and the story was about her doing that and helping her get her neighbors. But even the simple story is that it's that, like, from a child to us, like, you see kids that are children entrepreneurs, like it's that they obviously shared the idea and had some support along the way, but to get it going. I think that's the biggest thing, is to get it going. Now, again, like I said, now if I'm going to deal with investors or want to do big time, companies or work with, I'm going to have a solid plan and they have to see the projections and where I'm going and forecast and all that kind of stuff and pipeline, all that matters, right? So there's a place where you will have to do that, but to start, it's the dream and then the action, right? And I think, that's the big thing, for me, and balancing all that. My full time it's exhausting, but I try to really block out time and make time for the business, because it is my passion and it's something that is important to me. And I love doing it. So it doesn't seem like work, right? It's the part of the plate that I have that it's my passion. So it's a little easier, right? It's not as stressful as like going to do something I don't enjoy doing, like laundry, right? And so I don't mind going to, like, that part of my plate is not the strain. It's the other pieces on there that are requirements for you to do. So I think sometimes you can add another passion project sometimes because it doesn't feel as heavy,
right.
But it's just just make it happen and do it. And so if there's something you're trying to birth, just birth it.
So what are some obstacles that you've each encountered along the way? And despite those obstacles, what kept you motivated to keep pushing through and to continue pushing through to this day?
I think for me, it was really the unknown about going into commercial space. Nobody I would have never guessed that those signs that's outside of buildings cost $5,000 and you got to have one. Like, there's not a cheaper version, like you got to have one. I think just like all the little different things that you don't know, like the construction part of it, the permitting, like how long when, a contractor can tell you we can have this done in 6 weeks and then you're 5 months and you're sitting here like, what is going on? And then I think the funding part, for me, it was told if you are a minority and a woman, oh, it's so much money out there for you. It's not true. It just isn't true, because the reality of it is you are considered a new business until you are at least 5 years in. So going in and having no data to say, this is how many cupcakes I can sell, give me $20,000. They're like, no, thank you. Like that. I mean, that is really the reality of it. It's like, there's so many myths. There's so many things that people just believe that because of this thing or this thing, yes, it's so easy. This goes in, it's so easy. But I think, the reality for me was once I signed that lease on my commercial space for 5 years, there was no going back. I mean, when I look back and think about us having a 5-year anniversary in a couple of months, when we did our first anniversary, we didn't have ovens in the bakery. We literally baked cupcakes at my house, shuttled them to the bakery. We had a line around the building, but there was no ovens in the kitchen. So, I mean, it was just, you just had to keep going. And, thinking that people really want to help you. I had somebody who was supposed to be an investor and they loaned money. And that went bad very quickly. And in my mind, I'm thinking, hey, this is great. They're so friendly. And in a month's time, it was like, I want my money back. And it was like, I don't have it. I spent it. I bought this, and this. So just, those are some of the pitfalls. Like for me, I swear, I feel like everything that could have went wrong did go wrong. And I also found like the baking world is very, very competitive. Nobody wants to tell you anything. Nobody wants to work with you. Everybody is scared, is afraid you're going to steal their customer. So for me, it was just, I literally just had to keep pushing. Like there was no other option. It was like, I got to keep pushing. Right. I got to go. I don't want to, but I got to. It was some days I would lay and go, I really got to go in there and bake today. Like I really have to. But I mean, I kept going. And just for me, even to see where I am now and, surviving through COVID, right. Like, I mean, when COVID first hit, so many bakeries that had been around for years were shutting doors. And I called my mom and was like, Mom, what are we going to do? I'm too old to go to the strip club. What are we going to do? Like, I can't go. I'm too old. I don't know what we're going to do, but Mom. And we just literally, it was just like a quick like pivot. It was like, we're shutting down. We're doing orders and pickups. And it was my loyal customers who really wanted to support, who was just like, ordering every week. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's always a thought.
Well, you're not wrong.
It's always a thought. Whether you really would do it, it's always a thought.
If we are all being
honest, like, if all else fails, all right, here I go. Hot chocolate. So
I love the honesty. Yeah, I love the honesty.
Racially, we didn't have to go that route, but right. I mean, but but that was, I think COVID was really a tough learning experience for most businesses, especially small businesses. Yeah. I mean, and it was a lot of stuff we couldn't find. I remember one time I couldn't find yeast, and we made a lot of cinnamon rolls, or and then when I would find it, it was like yeast. It was $1 a packet. Now it was $15 a packet. Just like some of the inflations and some of the stuff you just couldn't find, and just all those different things. It was just like, I mean, it was just like a steady pivot. Like you had to just keep pivoting and keep going. And I kept going, man, these people are still ordering. Right. Like, this is amazing. So I just think it was one of those things that they saw I wasn't giving up. And I still was like, yep, I'm gonna do your birthday cake. Yep, I can do your wedding cake. Nobody's coming, but I'm gonna make it look amazing for pictures. Right. And that's kind of what kept me going.
Courtney,
I do want you to
Courtney, yes, ma'am. The sound in your room has just gone, and I've got my volume all the way up, so I can't hear.
Are we all the way? Okay, can you hear me now? Is that better? Yes. I'm gonna back up a little bit. Tell me if you can still, what about now?
Yes.
Okay, good, thank you. All right, one thing that I also want both of you to speak on is, as a woman, but not only a woman, but a woman of color, what are some of the challenges that you've also had to overcome in that regard?
I think for me, especially when I was building a bakery, having to meet with the architect, and it was just, I kept showing up, and it was like, so we're waiting on the owner. And I'm like, no, it's me. And at that time I looked younger too. And so it's like, no, where's your mom? And I was like, I don't know where she at, but I'm here. I don't know where my mom is at today. Who knows? But I think that was the hardest thing, was with the contractor, with the architect, it was just like they gave you stories, or they would talk to you like you didn't know, or like, the matter was like, no, I want my bathroom set here and not here. I just think there was a lot of discounting of as far as like what we knew and, how I wanted to go about stuff. And then it was like, then you have to get a little bit more aggressive, Right. And so now you're the angry woman, so I didn't want to do, but a lot of times that's what I would see, or even when I would talk with different, companies who wanted to have my product somewhere. Again, it was just like, oh, so where's the manager? And it was like, no, it's me. I mean, I would have people to come that first year I was in the bakery, people would come in and say, oh, you're doing such a great job. Do you want to have a bakery one day? And I'm like, yeah. And it's like, we'll like talk to the manager. And I'm like, sure, no problem. And I'll walk to the back and come back and like, it's me. A lot of, for whatever reason, they just didn't believe that, a Black woman was running this bakery in the side of town that we are actually on. So, I mean, sometimes you still kind of deal with that. And then sometimes it's just like, listen, I think as I grown in my business, I'm more willing to be like, okay, great. I don't need to do business with you, and just walk away. Like that's very easy. In the beginning, you don't know. And you just kind of go into, you get to a point. It's like, no, I know what I'm talking about. I know what I want. Now it's just like, sure, no problem. I'll get somebody else. So
absolutely. What
Yeah.
about you?
Well, I would say as far as like more the I know we were talking about the obstacle, but about that one, I think for me, the obstacle is more of just the blocking and tackling and scheduling and figuring out when I'm going to take time out for the business. Because like I said, if I have a full time, I do have to dedicate that time and just figuring out those things, but also it's just such a learning curve. Like I know a lot of different things and worked in different industries and done different stuff, but like this one sometimes it has kind of stumped me a few times along the way where it's like, I am not sure, like, how am I supposed to know who does the best paper printing, right? And who does the best boxes and the quality of the boxes and all of those different challenges. So I think that's what I'm figuring out now is all of those different things as far as markets and marketing and manufacturers and who to partner with and who not. I think those are the obstacles. And of course, like along the way, I've made some mistakes as far as choosing the wrong vendor or them not being able to do it or them not turning it around or not being this quality. So I think those obstacles, but even as a Black woman, I think it's just they're similar to like what Mary's saying, like, and the thing about her is she's the face, and they can see that, even behind the scenes, sometimes when you're having conversations, people just assume that you don't know what you're talking about and that you can't articulate or intellectually talk about your business and what you're doing. And so I think, I will say that, I think Meredith helped me with a lot of that while I was at Meredith and having opportunities, especially like the communications department, being in front of spaces and being comfortable and confident and able to speak up in, a lot of those settings. I do think like being at Meredith definitely prepared me for those settings. I was a communications major. Dr. Barron, yes, communications and K6. And so I do think, all of that kind of played a part in now me being confident to stand up and just say, like, I know the thing. I can talk about it. Like, this is my business and I can make decisions. I think the next challenge probably, will be being able to scale and be in those settings and be able to, be at the table and make those demands and requests for finances and investing and stuff. So those are kind of the next stage that I'm preparing for. But, as we know, there is a huge gap there and businesses and opportunities and funding and the whole equity as far as that is. So we know that, it's equality and equity. And so the goal is to make sure that, in those spaces that it's equitable for everybody. So I'm just hoping to be able to navigate that. And, I can already in little conversations see that it's going to be a challenge, but I just need to be able to be aggressive and confident in those decisions.
Great. That's great. So why don't you both also tell us what you've learned about yourselves as you've grown into these amazing businesswomen that you are today?
Ooh, yeah.
I think for me, it just reaffirmed that I'm amazing.
Yes.
I mean, that's the thing. I think for me, what I had to really realize is a lot of times when I look at like my reviews online or just customers that have been with me since I was at the kiosk, is as I am growing, like we are growing crazy. So a lot of times the customers can't see me when they come in there. They used to always see me or my brother, or definitely always me, or my sweet cousin who worked there forever. I was sad when she left, but I know that a lot of times that my customers are coming to see me, like they want to see me, they want to update me on their kids and life and want to know how I'm doing. So I had to realize that the product of Sweetheart Treats is also me. They come to, they feel like, I have customers that come in and say, we're like family. I have people that I did their, engagement, their wedding, their gender reveal, their baby's first birthday. And it's like, I literally have grown with them through all different life, changes. So, and then I think I also realized that I am very accommodating. I found out that I was a lot friendlier than I thought I was. It was like, man, all these people think I'm really nice, but I guess in my personal life, not so much, but in business, But I did. I found out that I am a lot friendly, and I do. For me, everything is so important to me. Like it just is. First year in business, if I got a bad review, it was a complete meltdown. But then I had to start realizing that sometimes people are having a bad day. Sometimes people look at stuff, however they saw it, you didn't. Whatever, like people always have perceptions of how you should treat them, how you should greet them. So I had to start realizing that they're not all great. Some reviews would be, hey, well, I could get these cupcakes at Food Line. Okay, great, you should have went there. But sometimes you do get a review. It's been a time where I got a bad review and it was like, you are 1000% correct. Like but for me, it was great because it was growth, So I think I had to learn that, I still can be accommodating, but I also had to start saying no, because when I take cake orders at the last minute, 9 times out of 10, it's always a problem because it's always, they didn't get what they wanted, but they didn't really relay it because it was less than 24 hours of meeting. So just learning how to say no and to kind of really stand firm on myself and my product and my time. That's the biggest thing. A lot of times people, ask for a quote, they'll go somewhere else, think they can find something better, and then they come back and it's like, oh, you should have stayed with me the first time. So, just kind of, just finding that out and finding that path of like, I love myself. I love my business. My business is like my baby, and I'm not going to let anybody treat me or my business any kind of way. So
that's great. Thank you.
Yeah. And I think for me is, I've learned in this process, like that I really can do hard things. Like before, like just more personally, before I started the business like that, the year before, so that was 2020. So yeah, I started 2021. 2020, well, we all know why that was crazy pandemic. But in the midst of a pandemic, I also got a divorce. So it was just a rough year, right? So coming out of that, I think for me, it was that like I can come out of like a tough time and really still do hard things and really still make an impact. And that, like I just have to believe in myself. Like, I mean, Mary's told me like I'm amazing and I have to believe that. And so, even really it's more even not amazing, just worthy. Like I'm worthy of all of these things. And I even got a tattoo to match it. And it says worthy right here, just to remind myself daily. But just reminding myself that I'm worthy, like I can do the things, right? I can figure it out. Everything is figure outable. And, I can make this happen for myself if I can dream it, right? If I can dream it and just keep focusing, all of the rest of the things, like, and if we think about our lives, most of the time, once we thought through something, even a decision that we want to make, it usually all works out. Like if it's a part of our heart and we really believe it, like it usually works out. And sometimes, we're misguided. And so we have to redirect. But, the core of it along this path is, it all has worked out. And I've just learned to believe in myself, and I'm trying to affirm children, and I have to affirm myself and make sure that comes back to me. So for me to tell my child, you're amazing, I have to say to myself, I'm amazing, and that I love myself, and that, I'm beautiful in all of those ways. I'm handsome. I have a card that says I'm handsome, and she always loves that card. And I'm like, no. So we joke that I'm handsome. But anyway, just reminding ourselves like all of those things. And, I think it's important to just sometimes just stand in the mirror and just say like, I can do this thing, and I'm amazing. And I might have had a rough day yesterday, but I'm gonna get up tomorrow and it's gonna all be okay. And I think, the blessing of all of this is like, we're all still here, right? And there's a lot of people that are not in the last couple of years. And so it's a reminder to me to like get up and do it because I can, right? We've all lost family members and friends in this season. I think for me, it's like, I need to get up and do it because I can do it. Now, if I can just get up and figure out how to get up and work out, well, now we're gonna figure that. We're working on that one.
When you figure that out, you let me know.
Once we get on it, but I mean, I think I'm, joking about that, but that we can do it. Like, right, we have the ability, and we're all blessed to be able to get up and do it and be healthy. So, like, let's just make it happen, dream it, and do it. So.
I love that. Okay, I got 2 more questions.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
So first, I want to talk about comparison, right? I'm sure that's something we all struggle with. But when it comes to your individual businesses and crafts that you have created, how do you set yourselves apart, and how do you avoid falling victim to comparing yourselves to other people?
I think it's funny because I said this to somebody other. I think for me is that there are tons of people making affirmation cards, but they're not going to make them like I am.
There you go.
And they're not going to do they don't have the background I have, they don't have the experience I have, that I've been a teacher and that I know different things that, so somebody else may do the same cards and have the same words, because those are words that we all know. Like, I don't own those words, but it's that the presentation is, and is how I want to present it. The type of artwork, the colors is how I want to present it. And so I think for me, with the brand is that I'm a part of the brand, right? And so that with the Affirmed kid is Ebony and my co-affirmer Emmy, right? And so that's what it is. And, I call her my Affirmed kid and encourage other people to have their own Affirmed kid. And so I think I bring, that. Now, obviously you see people in business and you compare yourself and you see, wow, this person's doing that. But like, that is something that I've had to work on over the years of like, I don't know where they started. Like, I don't know what they did before. Right. I don't know what funding they had. I don't know what family they had. I don't know what support they had. So I have to like stay on my own path and hold myself true to my path, because, it's the same thing we did in probably school where we compare ourselves to somebody else's car. Well, somebody else's dad may have bought them that car, but you might have bought it yourself. Like, it's just everybody's journey. And same thing in business is totally different. And so just staying true to my story, my brand, and who I am, keeps me grounded most of the time.
Thank you.
I think for me, I live by the motto of just, I run my own race. I don't watch a lot of other bakers. I don't. I mean, you watch stuff on TV because you steal their ideas. Right. And, but even, it's like, I mean, I hate when people go, oh my God, Mary, did you create? No, I didn't. Somebody else, I saw it somewhere else and I put my own spin on it. Because baking is so subjective. Right. But again, just like Emily just said, it's like, but you don't get me. It's like, for me, it's the love. It's the, when you come in my bakery, I know your kid's name. I know your mom. I know when you last been here. Husbands call me all the time, Mary, can you make something? What my wife's favorite, such as, you don't get that somewhere else. So for me, I just run my own race, and I can't worry about what somebody else does better than me, because again, I don't know what they did. They don't know what I do. They don't know, what I make, or, what my customer base is. But for me, I love the fact that I have been where I've been for 5 years. We don't do a lot of marketing. We didn't have any money to like start up. It was like all, my mom. Thank you, Mom. It was all her and my brother who worked for free for forever and everybody else. And, I have tons of friends that come in, like when we have large orders, they come in, and it is because people will go to me and go, how did you get in with Target? Because Jesus loves me. So, but for me, those are things that I didn't seek out Target. When I get large contracts, it's never because I sought them out. It's all because a customer went and told this person, hey, I know this girl, reach out to her. And I'm so grateful that somebody else appreciates what I do enough to promote me to somebody else. So to me, I say all the time, we have people come in our bakery now. We've been there 5 years and go, when did y'all open? Oh, we've been here 5 years. I've never seen you before. And I love that, because for me, we grow organically. I'm not, I'm overwhelmed because we're always busy. But imagine if I was posting an ad every day, then the quality goes down. Like for me, I want to touch every product. I would throw a cake away in a heartbeat if it doesn't feel right. And that's me. It's like, I just run my race as to what I can do, the products that I know I can sell that are really good. And it's been working for me. So
it has. It's been working for both of you. But that's amazing. Thank you both for sharing. Okay, last question. What are some words of wisdom, inspiration that were shared with you that keep you going, or that you would like to share with those in attendance today?
I think for me, like, it's just that I am worthy. Like, it's for me, it's become that simple. Like, I'm worthy, I'm deserving, and I can do it. And I think, I just try to hold on to those things. And I love myself as well, that I can do this, I can do the hard things and, make it happen. And it's not without challenge, right? I think the more recent like scripture that I just hold on to is be still and know. And just like in some of this, sometimes you do have to be still and know like it's going to be okay. And those days where it's just not making any sense. And so, that would be, my encouragement to people is that, like, again, dream it and act, but also know like it's not going to come without challenges. But you can do the thing. Yeah.
Sure. Well, I'm really shy, so.
Are you?
Yes, I am.
I would never have guessed. I'm
really shy, so no. Well, I am. technically, but I think for me, technically, but for me, I think as I went into baking, it was never a dream. I think I thought I was gonna be a party planner. Like I was like, I'm gonna get married, I'm gonna just plan parties all the time. Like I really thought this up what I was gonna do. It's like, then I went into accounting and I really, really loved that. And then, you know, we started baking and a lot of people were like, oh my God, this is your dream. And it was like, no, it was not. Because it wasn't. But I think the more that I saw the stuff that I taught myself, and people would go, oh my God, Mary, this is a gift. Like when you see people come into the bakery who have, you know, celiacs or can't find a vegan treat or can't take their kids into any place to get a treat and they can come in and you see that and people go, Mary, this is a gift. I think that was one of the biggest things to really realize that baking can be a gift from God, because I wing it, but I wing it based off of the talents that he gave me, you know, because other than that, it's like, I didn't go to school. I'm going for my first official decorating class in April. And I've been doing this for 7 years. So I'm only going to charge more. I'm just kidding. But it's like, you know, those are the things. It's like, I didn't realize as customers kept coming in and hearing the stories and, you know, just being able to, you know, do a cake for a funeral in a 2-hour turnaround time to take that one thing off of a family that was grieving. Like, you don't really think about how you really are touching people with the cakes. And, you know, for me, it's like, oh, I did a cake, but to them, it's something so much more. So just realizing that was a gift. And then what I will always say to anybody is like, you know, if you really want to do it, just do it. I mean, you're going to stumble. You can have the best laid plan and you still will stumble. So it's like, if you don't, you got to give it your all. It's like, sometimes I don't want to. Like after Christmas this year, we were so freaking busy. I didn't want to talk to nobody. I didn't want to come out the house on Christmas. It was like, no, I don't want to see anybody. I'll see y'all in 2022. But it's like, you know, just having that balance and just know that all those people, when I see it and see the, you know, responses, it's all worth it. It's all worth it. So I do enjoy it.
I love that.
Yeah, and I think like kind of going back to what she was saying, I think it's the road less traveled. Like I say that all the time, like I took the road less traveled because even with me, like from teaching and then changing careers there and doing something totally different, I only dreamed of being a teacher, but totally not doing that now. And I think, like she said, some of it you dream up and some of it you don't, but like just to take that path and keep moving through the path, because again, like where I've ended up now is better and bigger than I could have dreamed anyway on being a teacher, right? We love our teachers.
Yes.
Let me make sure we love our teachers.
Yes.
And I work in the education space. So I obviously love education. But like I dreamed of being a teacher, and what I'm doing now in education is impacting classrooms every day. So I have a different type of impact than being in a classroom and a different type of footprint. So all of that is, again, the road less traveled. I took a different path and now it's better than I could have imagined.
Right.
So
amazing. Okay, any final thoughts or comments?
I would just say that Meredith College is amazing. Right? No, I really do give credit to Meredith, you know, on a lot of stuff. And one is that I had the opportunity to work in small classroom settings and really be comfortable saying things and being who I am in a space where I never felt uncomfortable to speak up, to say what I wanted to, and be in the classrooms. And again, just the learning experience and opportunities and just exposure that I had on campus. And I was very active and involved. I don't know if I went somewhere else, if I would have been able to be that, to be in front of people and to get up and to be, you know, I was freshman class president when I was here, and like, I probably would not have done that somewhere else. And so, you know, all of that, I feel like has created, you know, helped me create my path, but is a huge part of who I am. And also, you know, just thankful to come back full circle, and I'm on the alum board now, right? Like, it's kind of crazy. So, you know, I would like to say thank you to Meredith for all of that, and even just supporting me along my own journey.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely.
Yes,
go Angels, go Angels. Do we have any questions online in the room? Anything that you want to ask these two? Going once, going twice. All right. Well, make sure you follow them on their socials. Make sure you visit
Sweetheart Treats. We are at 10930 Raven Ridge Road, Suite 105. In April the 30th, we're having a huge 5-year anniversary come. It's going to be a lot of good things, fried cupcakes.
Ooh.
It's going to be amazing. So
Okay.
please come and visit us. I promise you'll have a good time. You'll laugh. It's ridiculous, but it's a party. It's a party.
And Ebony, where can we find your product?
Yes, so it's theaffirmedkid.com. It's not www, so it's just HTTP, theaffirmedkid.com. Or on Instagram, you can follow me at The Affirmed Kid. Same on Facebook, and also you can follow my personal social, where pretty much it's just my child social page. And that's at Hey, H-E-Y, Ebby, E-B-B-Y, Hey, H-A-Y. So, and if somebody needs that, find one of them, and
Yes,
I'm sure
we'll get you the
they'll get it
information.
to you, but
Yeah.
feel free to follow any of those pages and support us however.
Yes, let's give them both a round of applause for being here and having this talk with us.
Yeah.
I want to thank all of you online, all of those of you here in person, Hillary, Lenny, Hannah, Taylor, thank you for making this possible. Honestly, it's not something that has to be done, right? And there are plenty of institutions that aren't willing to put events like this together. So kudos to you all for making this possible. And I feel honored to be sitting amongst the two of you. So thank you for your time and all of the knowledge that you dropped on us today. Okay?
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.